and we need to begin, and we are beginning to get curious, right? Like Babaji said, we're beginning to have awareness of all of our reactions, responses, thoughts, beliefs. And with that awareness, which is light shining on it, we can start to get curious. So when you start thinking about authenticity, start thinking about soul expression, true, clean, clear, unprogrammed, unfiltered, heart-centered, aligned with God, reactions, responses, ways of being. That's authenticity. So essentially, it's not actually the you that you think you are, the persona, the personality, the ego that is going to be authentic. It's the soul that is going to begin to come online and begin to express through you. And this gets to happen quite naturally the more you begin to see how your personality, the persona, the ego, the parts of us that have been programmed, God bless us, you can't get out of that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when we begin to see that that's the part of us that we're trying to get to be authentic, it's impossible, right? It's like trying to squeeze a circle into a square. We're trying to get these programmed aspects of us to become authentic. And what needs to happen is we need to understand that authenticity is bringing soul back to life, giving soul the permission to take center stage. And so then it becomes, well, what is my soul? How do I feel my soul? How do I know where soul is? How do I access it? Right? All these questions that, of course, all of us, if we're humble, we have. And so then as we begin to get curious with these questions around that, we start to recognize how distant we may be from that full, true, authentic expression. And again, this becoming fully authentic requires a huge amount of authenticity, or of humility and authenticity, but of humility. Being humble by how we are in the world and understanding that authenticity does not mean that you're just honest all the time with everything. I'm being fully authentic. I'm being fully transparent. That's a great step, like knowing that you're being authentic, that you're being fully you. But we're going to go deeper in this teaching, and we're going to say, okay, that's great, but that still is the aspect of you that has that sculpted kind of program. I'm encouraging us to go deeper and beyond that and go into that level of beingness, which is when the soul begins to arise. So what does that look like, or what does that feel like? How do we begin to activate or step into or let that outfit, the soul, play a bigger role so that we can become authentic expressions of soul in human? So our human is becoming fully authentic, which is soul's expression. This is why there have been studies that have shown that authenticity is in a higher vibration than love, because authenticity is literally God's light. Soul is an aspect of God. And when soul expresses, it's God expressing. So when you feel and hit that button of authenticity, you're actually being soul in that moment, which is God. So of course it's going to have the highest vibration of any energy you could feel. So what we're trying to do here is start to look at the sculpted version of us that is here, playing a role, nothing wrong with it, and the authentic soul divinity of us, and starting to recognize the drastic difference energetically. One is full of control, the sculpted one. The other one is full of ease, grace, and flow. One has a lot of doubt, fear, negotiation, insecurity, unworthiness, fight, resistance. Um, the other one has absolute joy. All is well. It is what it is, that kind of state. The authentic soul has opinions. It has ways of seeing the world in its unique way. But it doesn't have a lens of judgment around expression. So everyone is a unique soul trying to remember how to be that unique, authentic expression. And so they're navigating all their opinions and all their beliefs. And when we start trying to navigate what we think and what we feel, what's mine, what's not mine, in a world where you have been deeply programmed, it's really hard to figure that out. And when you start figuring it out, when you start getting your voice back, there's a lot of frustration or anger. There's a lot of I'm right, you're wrong. There's a lot of pointing fingers that begins to happen in the beginning. There's a lot of rage because you realize that you've been silenced, or you've been lied to, or all these things that the human starts to unravel when they get closer and closer to the authentic divine expression of soul. So what that is it's just layers of the cloak melting. We're going to have anger, perhaps. We're going to want to shout from the rooftops our truths, right? We're going to want to stand up for ourselves. These are all things that start to happen when we start to peel back the massive amounts of manipulation and mind control. It's part of it. And then as you start to get closer and closer to this authentic soul expression, you start to soften. Your heart starts to soften. You start softening. You start to settle into a way of seeing your expression, how you're being in the world, how you're thinking in the world, how you're feeling in the world. You're softening to that because it's becoming home. So there isn't a fight. And this is the part where a lot of us are we're going to love being in this state of authenticity, but a lot of us are not quite there yet because the world is going through a massive awakening out of a large type of mind control manipulation and into this softening of authenticity. So if you look around at the world right now, thank you so much for sharing this information with us because this is making total sense to me. If we look around at the world right now, what we're going to notice is a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting, a lot of division, a lot of proving our points. It's because there is this awakening where we're starting to unconsciously, humanity is beginning to realize that they have been lied to, that they've not just from certain governmental systems, overarching collective energy that they have, and this is all this can be very subtle and subconscious and unconscious, but they have been lied to, manipulated, coerced, programmed. And on any side of the argument or on any side of the equation, this is a collective feeling that humanity is having. And so it ensues this like eruption of anger, of rage, of angst, of anxiety, of stress. And what it looks like, what it presents itself to as this arguing, divisive, loud, mean, coming at you, going at people kind of energy. But what's actually happening behind that is the awakening into our authentic soul's expression. So we're breaking free. We're starting to say, wait a second, that was never actually mine. Hold on a second. That doesn't make sense to me anymore. Wait a second. You've been telling me what? No, right? And we start to have our temper tantrums. God bless this stage that we're in. It needs to happen, but it's very disruptive to your nervous system, right? It's very disruptive because you're breaking free from the prison, and then you're watching others break free, and they might not like the way you're breaking free, and you might not like the way they're breaking free, and we're all breaking free and going crazy because we're starting to break free, but we don't even know that we're breaking free. We think it has everything to do with the certain stories and narratives that we're fighting against and fighting for, but essentially it's just a breaking free out of the prison of this mind control that humanity has been under for thousands of years, keeping us from our authentic expression of soul, which is the purity of God's light. So it's a beautiful, beautiful moment, but it's also very intense, okay? And so authenticity is calling us, soul is calling us back to it. And it's these baby steps that we're taking where eventually, quite naturally, because this is how God works, quite naturally, without us really efforting too much, we will start to drop deeper into authenticity, which is when there is a softening, an opening, a relaxing, a flow, a love, an allowing. If you've taken the Align classes, you've been practicing soul's expression for quite some time. Good job. If you're taking the 40-day class, you've been practicing what God feels like inside of you. And so now what we're doing is we're kind of merging both, because the soul is active. It takes the lead. It makes choices. Just like your ego takes the lead and makes choices. But when the soul kind of starts to step up and come online more, this beautiful expression of God, there is a feeling state, which is what you're starting to feel in 40 days, right? That peace, that calm, this sense of being taken care of, that all is well. This kind of like you're just starting to like trust so much in life, and the emotions that you struggle with are starting to float away. The thoughts that you grab and try to figure out, you're not trying to figure them out. Something quite magical begins to happen when you start to actually embody and feel God inside of you. Not think, not know, but truly feel it. And not because you ignited something within you to feel it, but because you actually invited the source of all light to come into your physical form. It's very, very different. It's life-changing.